All right, Packers fans, we're one pick away. Dallas is on the clock, and I think they're going to end up going with Tyler Guyton at that pick, which, even if that isn't the case, there are some really good options for the Packers on the board here. The board couldn't really have fallen much better. Not a lot of people expected six quarterbacks to go that early or 14 consecutive offensive picks to go. But as the Packers are on the clock here, we've got Graham Barton still available. Um, Terrion Arnold to some cornerback one in this draft class. Nate Wiggins, who I don't think is really on the Packers' radar at this point, especially given that, you know, you still have Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean, Tyler Guyton, as I mentioned, is still on the board. There are a ton of prospects at the top of this draft class that I think the Packers would be interested in. I mean, you get into Johnny Newton out of Illinois, still available. Um, yeah, this board has been outrageous. I would love to hear what you guys think so far. And who's your pick for the Packers at 25? Are we going corner? Are we going to end up going tackle? I mean, I know we've got this Dallas pick that is still in the works here, but what do you think is going to happen? For me, I'm not as high on Terrion Arnold as some people are, but I mean, it's a toss up between Terrion Arnold, who is definitely a top tier cornerback prospect in this draft, and a guy like Cooper DeJean, who has that versatility that can play that safety position, who can, you know, kick outside and play corner as well. And it looks like the Detroit Lions actually traded up to pick 24, probably trying to leapfrog the Packers on somebody here. And I believe they've got a big cornerback need, so they're probably going Terrion Arnold here. So I'm thinking that's probably going to leave, us with what a lot of Packer fans have really wanted in this draft all along, and that's Cooper DeJean. Um, I don't know if y'all are watching out there, but this is wild how this has gone. I mean, the first good bit of the draft was pretty straightforward. And I mean, we got to pick 8 with Penix going there to Atlanta. And that was, just I don't think anybody could have conceived of that happening. And then the fact to find out that, it was relatively unheard of, especially for a guy like Penix, who nobody really projected to go in the top 10. A lot of people didn't even think he was really going to go in the first round. For Atlanta not to have had that conversation ahead of time with Kirk Cousins, that is just disrespectful in my opinion. But I love to hear Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah talking about basically how he got the Aaron Rodgers treatment from them, and it just brought a smile and a laugh to my heart. It was insane. Um, I can't believe how this has gone so far. The fact that with 5 picks leading up to the Packers pick, had all of the top cornerbacks on the board still. I'm really surprised that Gutekunst didn't look at drafting up there, but he must have had some of these guys rated really similarly to want to save that draft capital, which would have probably been, pick 58 or something in that realm to be able to move up. So definitely, interesting that we didn't take the opportunity to go up and get somebody like Quinyon Mitchell, and now to see that Detroit's leapfrogging us, who I assume, like I said before, is going to be Terrion Arnold because they definitely have a cornerback need. Um, like that leaves Graham Barton, who so many people thought was going to be the Packers pick for so long, and then also Cooper DeJean, who is the fan favorite at this pick. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you prefer at this point for the Packers at 25? It's been a long pre-draft process. I know a lot of people have speculated we're going to get to this point. We're going to have Graham Barton on the board. We're going to have Cooper DeJean on the board, and then they're going to take linebacker at pick 25, and they're going to go on Edgerrin Cooper. And I mean, what would you think about if that actually happened for the Packers here at pick 25? If we've got, this wealth of options because of all of the insanity that's happened before the Packers were even on the clock, to then end up going with a non-premium position like off-ball linebacker, though it's a huge Packers need, and then just, feel that. I mean, would you feel disappointment? Would you be I mean, Cooper is a good linebacker prospect, don't get me wrong, but I think even pick 41, I might be feeling a little bit, rich in my blood to take a linebacker like that. And finally, it looks like the commissioner is coming out to announce this pick for the Lions at 24. Got a contingent of what looks like high school football players and um, both, like powder puff and high school like men's football. But man, just I can't believe this is how this has gone so far. And I mean, we've got just so many good prospects. I really like I really like the idea of having Cooper DeJean as that, kind of Swiss Army knife in that defensive backfield for the Packers because of the fact that he could have that versatility to play all of the defensive back positions in reality. And not that he's going to be, top tier guy on all of those positions, but the fact that he's going to be serviceable and will do well at all of those positions, and the fact that you can line them up at different spots really is going to unlock everybody else in it. But here, Lions are announcing the pick now. Let's see who they end up going with. Here we go. Terry and Arnold, just like I thought. So seeing them jump us, they obviously knew that the Packers were interested in the cornerback market. Felt the need to give up some picks. I didn't see exactly what the compensation was for that move to 24 for the Lions. I know they were picking, I believe was it 28, I think, in the draft order. Let me take a look. 29. They were picking 29 originally. So even to move from 29 to 24, you're probably looking third round pick maybe. So when I see what that compensation looks like, I'll share that for all of you guys. But it's interesting nonetheless that they would go up and get their guy. I mean, that's a really good value for the Lions at 24 to get, I mean, arguably the number one corner in the draft class, depending on what you felt. I had Quinyon Mitchell higher than him, but um, yeah, that is huge for them. Not a great thing for Packers fans, obviously. Um, but again, I mean, I almost would have preferred to have Kool-Aid over Tyrion Arnold as a corner coming out of Alabama. I think I don't know. It's different, but for Detroit to get a cornerback, a position of need for them when they were already a really strong team last year. Definitely the NFC North is getting better with the exception of the Vikings so far. I mean, while the Vikings have made some moves, the only team other than the Detroit Lions so far that had traded up in the first round, um, they gave up a lot to make sure that they didn't get leapfrogged for JJ McCarthy, which, probably rightfully so at that one. I don't argue with that. But then to move up from 23 to 17, they gave up a lot of draft capital. I saw a tweet from somebody out there that essentially they gave up like 3,800 points on one of the draft trade value charts in exchange for 1,800 points of value. So not exactly doing the analytics drill and finding the value that they would get for doing these picks. Obviously, they love the guys that they got. Makes sense. What was it? Their second pick was uh, Dallas Turner. So two premium positions worth paying for sure for the Vikings. But I mean, your mileage may vary on JJ McCarthy. Obviously, they really like what they have in him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken him. And I think in comparison, if you think of the idea of giving up 23 and 11 to have moved up to get him earlier, to get him at 11, I'm sure they're thrilled about that. But they gave up a whole lot to get it into 23 in the first place, and then to give up more to get from 23 to 17. It's not great process, in my opinion, from the Vikings. So we'll see, how that pans out for them over the next couple of years. They gave up a lot. I think it was a second, a third, and a fourth next year among all of their other trades in order to get into position where they were for this pick, for their picks, I guess, rather in the first round. So, um, I mean, I couldn't be happier with how this is broken for the Packers. Um, but I'm also mentally preparing myself to be dashed by the idea that we take somebody other than, you know, really Tyler Guyton, Cooper DeJean, or Graham Barton with this pick. I mean, I could see maybe somebody like, one of these other top end defensive prospects who hasn't gone off the board yet, whether it's like Johnny Newton or, um, I mean, even if they liked Kool-Aid like that, I could see that pick. But or I mean, I guess maybe if you wanted to go with a tackle like a Jordan Morgan or a Kingsley Suamatea, but to have the guys that everybody has thought were perfect fits for the Packers on this in this draft cycle to be there on the board. Graham Barton has that versatility along the offensive line, can play. I mean, hasn't really played guard, but has the tools and likely is a guard at the NFL level, but has experience playing center and at left tackle. Huge. Not necessarily your value at pick 25, maybe, but immediately comes in and makes an impact on the Packers offensive line. Cooper DeJean comes in, immediately starts, I would say, at safety, if not at corner, depending on how things go as far as health of Eric Stokes, the progression of Carrington Valentine on the outside, and he can also step in and take some of those slots, and you can use the puzzle pieces of Keyshawn Nixon, Xavier McKinney, and Cooper DeJean to really keep the offense guessing, which I think will really help Jeff Hafley's defense for the Packers. But I'm really just curious what this pick is going to be at this point. Hit me up in the comments. What do you guys think is gonna happen with this pick? Um, who do you want? Who do you think it's going to be? Share all of it, because who we want the pick to be and who it actually is, or who we think it might be, is always a different thing. We see, like, rarely do we see the guy that the Packers want to take, or that we want the Packers to take, being the guy last year. It was Jackson Smith-Njigba for me. I really thought he was going to be a top tier Packers guy, top receiver in that draft class. And then we got really an equivalent to him to some degree in Jayden Reed in the second, which is great value. I loved that. Wasn't as aware of Jayden Reed in the pre-draft process as I obviously came to become after the fact. And in hindsight, I love the fact that we kept him. But let's see what ends up happening here, because I haven't seen the pick yet. I see somebody dropped in the chat, Jordan Morgan. I don't know if that's just the idea of it, or if I'm just lagging on my stream here of what the pick is. But if we pass up on Cooper DeJean here and Graham Barton and go with Jordan Morgan, I will be very surprised. Let's see. Here it is announcing it. Hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft. Let's go, baby. Jordan Morgan. Okay, so Eric was right in the chat. Go ahead and show that chat up there. He called it out ahead of time. Man, that is not the guy that I was thinking we were going to pick with the guys on the board currently. I mean, I tweeted earlier that what if the idea was that we traded up and we would have gotten one of Quinyon Mitchell and Terrion Arnold, or Terrion Arnold rather, and then traded back into the end of the first round to get a Cooper DeJean. I wonder if that similar kind of thinking could potentially be in the works here, where they think they can get DeJean still either by trading back into the first round or early in the second round. So, I mean, we've got 6, 7 picks left, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, 7. I can't math. It's late in the day and I've had a few to drink. Speaking of which. But, man, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this first round plays out. I appreciate all of you that joined me to, hear some of the ramblings about what this pick could be. I hope you guys are enjoying the draft so far. And here's to some more Packers picks and 4 more Packers picks in tomorrow night's stream. And I'll try to go live as those happen as well. Come back and check me out if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you around. Take it easy.